everybody, it's your old pal Rob. Today I am going to show you how to paint. Yeah, baby. Look at that dude. That dude is just nasty. Aeon's Trespass Odyssey is amazing. And I played the tutorial quite a few times. I wanted to get these painted up so I can do the tutorial with them painted. I've got our first set to go, and off and ready to run, and I got a little more touch-ups to do, but nothing. What I'm going to do is show you how to get this table ready. So let's go down to the table, and I'm going to show you how to do this quick, efficiently, just like I did, and then on the other side of this we'll talk what's coming up next, because after this, once you get everything painted, it's time to play some of this, which I can't wait. Let's go down the table. So I got the initial figures sprayed, and I put their primer on, and I used a barbarian flesh for the primer, because there's just so much flesh that I get out of this. Like the spinal cord here, I'm going to take some Ushabi bone and come down. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with these fists. I mean, almost, just try to get what I can out of this to give it some variant and so forth. Maybe I go Ushabi bone on both this, because it's kind of like a bone almost coming up in here. And then all these hands and everything, we want to make sure that we get that wash and really bring out the fantastic detail here. Of course, we're going to have to repaint over the base here, but that's all right. The other reason that I did this is there is a lot of flesh here, so it kind of saves me time painting the flesh. All I've got to do is worry about the weapons and go from there with this. So with our 4 Argonauts, we're going to get them all jacked up too. And well, without any further ado, why don't we just kind of get started and do our... Well, the first thing I'm going to concentrate is on this big dog here. And I went right down the spine with some Ushabi bone to try to pull out the spine here. But my thought is that if this thing's going to hit with fist, it's not going to be a flesh fist. It's going to be type of a bone. And that kind of works together. So what I'm doing is I'm actually painting these arm, because to me they just kind of come and they stand out, and I think when we go over it with the wash, it'll really stand out and really be, give this feel of power, that sheer bone, sheer density, boom, it's going to come up. So I'm just kind of feeling this out. And then the hardest part, I think, of this whole thing, or this particular model, is highlighting the base itself. What do you do to really make that base come up? Now there's some really tricky spots on this guy that you're gonna have to get your brush around, and you can easily forget them, but there seems to be enough gap that you can get your brush in there. So like through here, and you want to be careful because you don't want to have to repaint anything by taking and dragging your brush the wrong way. So I'm just taking my time and kind of working that in there. And then I'm just going to kind of touch on this. Maybe, you throw a little red in there, a little red wash, which would be kind of nice, maybe even, or maybe here with the tongue. We can do that even, and really just have that kind of sit out and stand out a little bit. I don't know. I'm trying to figure it all out as we go, that's for sure. And because I want this thing to look gruesome, terrifying, and yet powerful. So that's a deadly combination there. And it's a strange type of creature that you're dealing with here. So how do you bring all that stuff out and get the emotion of all the different arms and things that it has, and really stay true to what the figure is. So But that's why, you know, you use your imagination, folks. That's what it's there for, right? All right. So I'm going to finish this up and then we'll come back. Next thing I wanted to do is I wanted to take some Reichland Flesh Shade. Now normally I would try to get everybody where they need to be before I just do one giant thing, but I wanted to see how this was going to look on here. And so far, if you move it around the right way, and I think I'm going to change this thing, whatever this is, and make it like a tongue of some sort. But I really like how this is going on so far. The wash really gets in there and really does a nice job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish. And the one thing I want to show you here is you're going to see that it's going to pool up in certain areas. You want to move that around. You want to get that depth where it sits in there correctly. But you also want to move that around a bit and get it where it really, it's nice and even. All right, you don't want to make this uneven because we're gonna, even though we're gonna darken this up, we're going to lighten it back up. All we're doing with this flesh shade is kind of just, in a way, just kind of putting in our you know, making it more we're giving it dimension. Okay, it's not just a flat color. You're going to be able to see all the recesses and things like that. So this just fantastically wonderful model that is produced here. And going over the Ushabti bone that we put on, really stands out too. So I really just want to make sure that I get this nice and even all the way through. So when we highlight outwards, it's going to make a really big difference. And when it dries, we're going to be able to see all that depth that we want to add in here. All right. So I'm going to finish this up and then let it dry, and then we'll come back and we'll take a look at it. The next thing that I wanted to do was I took a little bit of Emperor's Children, and I went over like this tongue thing that's whatever it is that's hanging here, and just kind of worked that in there. But there's a little soft spot in the spine here, and I just kind of want to just tickle around there. It's a little weird. It almost seems like it's opened up so the spine can show. So I'm just kind of breaching that a little bit with a little bit of this Emperor's Children. It's almost like it's like the musculature that's exposed from the skin. So with that wash there, I just want to expose that a little bit and kind of give it a little bit of a different feel here. I'm trying not to hit any of the hands or anything like that because there's like 9,000 of them. But if I can just come around here, and then when I come with the red wash over the top, it'll give a nice little pop there. So that and the tongue there, and just work that in there. And then I'm going to let that dry too. Now while that's drying, what I'm going to try to do is, so I get a little more depth of this, I want to paint this base. And I'm going to just paint this base gray for now. So let me get to work on that. So I just took some Dawnstone, went over the base, just keeping it basic. I'll pick things out later on. Right now, all I'm concentrating on is just trying to make sure I get all the spots that I possibly can and just kind of get an idea how I want this to end up. So that's it for now. I'm going to do the rest of these bases in a Dawnstone. So just so I have it done and I don't have to go crazy later on. So I'll get to work on that and then we'll come back. Now, next thing I did is I watered down a little matte white here. And what I want to do is kind of just go over there, like for this dude here. He's got, you know, he's got his little, I don't even know what the heck you call it, you know. Just protecting him. He's a Titan, so he doesn't have to, you know, be fashionably in, I guess. And all I want to do is just kind of get this on here because I'm going to go over this with a wash, and that's what's going to really pull this out. So, you know, if you just painted this white, it would just look silly. But you want to make sure that you get it good enough where you can get that wash in there. And you got to be careful because we're going to use a body wash, a flesh wash, and we're going to use a Newell oil, if you guys know what that is. And what that's going to do is that's really going to darken up this white a bit and really bring it out in a way that we want it to. And hey, that's the idea, is just kind of get a good sense of things. Okay, so we're just kind of just trying to catch everything here so it goes in nice. We'll do the headdress next, but I want to do everybody else. I want to get all their little white tunics on and get them all jacked up so we can just do one big wash on these. All right, so we're doing pretty good here. We got all the base color. We're trying to finish up on the base colors. We're putting some lead belcher on these helmets, and just anything that has any kind of metallic, we're just getting our metallic paint in there, because we want to do that before we start putting our washes on, because we want to darken everything up. We want to get in those recesses and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that you have all your base colors on and stuff like that. So you're just really careful what you're doing here. So I'm painting these very unique helmets onto these Titans, and my God, these are just beautiful miniatures. And I'm really enjoying myself painting this up, so I can't wait until we really start building outwards with these guys. And each one of them are just different, unique, and just have this really uniqueness. And we're going to start working on it. You know, like I said, I got all the bases nice, and just with their base coat before I decide what I'm going to do with those as well. And just making sure, get a little water on here a little bit, because I want to thin this out a little bit so it goes on a little thinner. There we go. And just really just kind of work this in here so when we go over with the wash, it really just sits up nicely. Probably put another coat on here at some point. So we're just gonna take our time here. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to start bringing this flesh out, and I'm going to use a Canadian flesh tone here. And all I want to do is just take a little bit on my brush, not a lot. I don't need a lot to do this, okay? And I'm going to just take this and work this in here a bit and really take as much off as I possibly can. And then all I want to do is just kind of start working over certain areas and just get the high points, okay? And just make sure that I kind of just have this kind of sit up a bit and just give it a weird kind of fleshy, kind of light, weird look. I mean, actually, it really kind of is if you really think about it. And all I'm going to do is just kind of go over this and really try to point out certain things, not taking that wash out. That wash really sits in there really nice. So I just kind of want to just kind of take a little bit of that darkness out and really just kind of really make it kind of creepy, to be honest with you. And if I could do that, we'll get somewhere. And you could see where we're going with this and how it's starting to come together a bit. So I'm going to keep working on this. We'll come back, and then I'm going to hit this area here, and I'll show you what I do with that. So next, I'm going to take some of that Ushabti bone, and all I'm going to do is just very lightly just kind of just go over. I don't want to take any of those recesses, any of that stuff in the recesses out, and I just want to kind of lightly go over this area very carefully. Just really try to blend in there and really accentuate that bone again, bringing it out and just leaving the stuff in the recesses, not washing it out or anything like that. And then I'm also going to kind of just trickle this across the spine. So it has that kind of, whatever the heck that spine is. And I want to go over the top of the bone structure here. And I don't want to hit that red at all, that Emperor's Childress that I have there that is working. You want to make sure that you get the other side here. So you want to go through the gap here. And you want to make sure that you get that bone real good. And you want to get that in there. And I'm going to come in here on the other side and do the same thing. Again, just making sure that I hit it just right. I'm using my brush properly. Just taking my time, not rushing. You don't need a lot of paint to do this. You just need enough to kind of bring that out a little bit. And that's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing. And I'm going for the bone look. So, as you can see, there you go. He's starting to really start to come together. We got to get that base squared away, and I got to figure out what I want to do with that. So, let me continue work here. Now, I'm going to let that dry a bit, let that solidify, and I'm going to think what I want to do here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back, and I'm going to start highlighting these guys right here. So now we're taking the Reichland Flesh Shade and we're just kind of going over all, and you can see where this just really gets into these fantastic miniatures and right into there. And it just sits right there perfectly. You can see how this beautiful wash, this Flesh Shade just really works in there. Got to get a little bit more on my brush. And I don't want to hit any of this white area because I'm going to be going over that with a different type of wash. And you're just going to try to hit everything that you possibly can here. And just be careful not to get it onto the white. So I'm going to finish these up and then come back and I'll show you the next step. Next, we're going to take some Newell oil, however you want to say it, Newlin, whatever. And all I'm going to do here is their dress here. I just want to be very careful not to get it on any of the flesh and just work it in there so we can just get that and get some depth to their adult diaper here. I think that's the best way to put it for now. And get that in there. You want to make sure that you leave no white unwashed because it will, and then you want to go over the top here. It will wash out on you. It will show. It'll be very blatant. And just go over the metallic areas here. Work this in here. Make sure that you got this in here real good. And boom, there you go. Alright, these guys start to come together pretty good. And we got to figure out the bases. That's the only thing that I'm really kind of worried about is because the bases are really going to make these things really pop here. So I'm going to work in through here, through this little area there, through the top here. And again, this is just one of those things that you really want to take your time, go slow about it, into the headdress here, which is just cool as anything. And just work that in there. And you can see how this really works out very, very, very well. See, you can see the difference from the front to the back. Just gives it this little bit of griminess and that it kind of needs a little bit. And then we'll highlight out once this all dries. So we're just going to work that in there like so. And boom. And then come over the top here a little bit. There we go. And over that little thing there, over that blade there. And boom. Alright, and then one more guy here. Just to show you one more time. And just really just get it in there. Move it around. Make sure you move it around real well. That is the key to everything. Moving it around and not letting it puddle. All right, and I'm just moving it around there. And I want to get in between there. And just make sure that I move that around and it just doesn't pool in one area. If you feel you got too much, take some off. Dry off your brush. Take a little off. Never hurt anything. And then I want to come over the top here. Or if you got enough that you could pull here and you could pull out, just use it to go over the top here. And there we go. We're going to go over that very nicely. All right. Perfect. Now we're going to just let those dry, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do a few more things with those guys. And, we're heading in the right direction here. All right, there you go. I just figure I'd give you guys a little better look at these when they are all done. Again, I just kind of got them where they are, as you would say, tabletop quality, and that's all I'm looking to. With the monster, I kind of took some liberties and did things a little bit differently, but I had such a good time with it. And these are just such beautiful, fantastic models from a great company doing great things. So what's next? Well, let's go up top and find out. Aeon Trespass. We're ready with our initial playthrough. Very simple paint job, nothing crazy, a lot of fun, and the nice thing is, there's not a ton of art for it, especially in the base game there that I have, and I'm allowed to be creative a bit, and I kind of took some liberties and did some things, and I'm pretty happy with it. So, I get them good enough to get to the table, and let's do a live playthrough, because isn't that what it's all about? Just having some fun with all of you down on the table. Until next time, it's your old pal Rob. We'll see you soon, everybody.